Hey there, this is Mike with Moonracer Suspension. I want to show you my new favorite tool. It's the KTC BRSW3S. S stands for small, and it is actually quite small. It's a little smaller than I thought it was going to be. Even though I knew the measurements, saw a couple videos online, it is still a bit smaller than I thought it would be. There's three in this line. They all have the same prefix. One has the S at the end, that's small. One doesn't have a letter at all. That's like kind of your normal go-to everyday length ratchet. And then they have the L, which is the long version. So make sure if you're ordering it, you know what you're getting. This guy right here happens to be, like I said, the BRSW3S by KTC. KTC is the parent company of Nepros. Nepros, as you know, is some of the best stuff on the planet, and this is absolutely no different. Kind of to jump into it, a few folks have talked about the switch being a little bit tight, and it is. The switch is a little bit tight. It is a little bit harder to do with one finger, but that being said, you can, and it's not something that personally I would even care about, even with oily gloves. I haven't had an issue. I'm mainly using this ratchet right here, for kind of more the finer detailed in suspension work. I use it to loosen foot nuts on forks. One of the things I like about it is it turns into a screwdriver, so you can kind of finish the process. I use it for piston nuts, which are very, very shallow, mostly using chamferless sockets on it. And I wanted something that was small, had a nice kind of solid, wider grip, than some of the more petite stuff. So I really feel precise when I get my hand on it to loosen them without stripping anything out, which is very important. So anyhow, that's one of the reasons I bought this. I kind of bought it just because I thought they looked cool. And then I've kind of found out it's one of my most useful tools in suspension work, as far as a ratchet goes, Anyhow, like I said, it's pretty tiny. It comes in at about 120 millimeters, which, imperial size comes out to about 4 3/4 inches. For reference, I'll show you, again, this is 3/8. And for reference, I'll show you, my Nepros. This is the 1/4 inch, and this is the NBR290F, and it's kind of got that compact head. It's very tiny. And so if you look at, let me see if I can hold it out. If you look at the length difference, even with that 1/4 inch, and that's not the long version of this 1/4 inch, but the flex head is a bit longer. You can see it is quite a bit shorter, probably 1.5 inches or something like that. And, that being said, if you compare, I think, personally, this is one of the best swivel heads on the market. This swivel head is tiny enough where it's about the same size as the Snap-ons 1/4 inch, and this is 3/8. And again, you got to pick your tool. We're not using these for high torque. So, this ratchet can provide more than enough torque in any application that you're going to use with a 4 3/4 inch handle. So it's not something that you need to worry about. And I think they're rated for a lot higher than you could do with your hand. For reference, with the head size, I'll show you, this is the Koken 3725Z. It's their Zeal series. And it's kind of like their mid-size, or I guess it's their smaller ratchet. I can't remember what size it is, but if you can see, the head size is almost identical as far as in width and the side width as well. So very similar. It's very small. I was very impressed with the size of the head, which is something that I don't need anything that's super bulky. Also to compare it to one of my favorite ratchets, which is the NBR390AF, which, let me show you right here, is absolutely beautiful. I don't really use it too much. It kind of sits in my box as jewelry, but I am glad that I have it. You can kind of see the head size. It's very similar. This is the A series. The A series is a smaller head than the non-A. So that's to take into consideration if you have one of the older NBR390s or NBR390Fs. So as you can see, it's probably even a little bit thinner or very similar if you if you account the switch into that consideration. So anyhow, just wanted to let you know that if you're thinking about getting one of these, they probably range around 60 to 75 bucks. A lot of stuff they might have to order from Japan, so just prepare. It might take 2 to 3 extra weeks to be able to get it, but the wait is worth it, and you'll probably have it forever. The fit and finish, the chroming is beautiful. The head's nice and tight, very, very tight, not sloppy at all. And it looks like with this slit, you could tighten that screw and increase that preload. So if it does loosen up over time, it's something you can do. Even with getting a little bit of oil inside the mechanism, because I work with a lot of oil doing suspension work, it hasn't been an issue. Anyhow, and that's another reason why I really like, full chrome stuff with the knurling is sometimes with oil, it's kind of nice to have a little extra grip. Anyhow, there it is. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave them in the comments. I'll try to get back to them. I'm not a big YouTuber. But when I get excited about something, I want to share it. And I think that anybody that purchases one of these little guys would be very happy, and it would be useful, and you'd probably have it forever. Anyhow, thanks for listening.